I'm Sto Len, and I'm the resident artist at AlexRenew, the wastewater treatment facility of Alexandria, Virginia. I'm working on a project called RENEWAL, which is an 18-month-long residency. I'll be presenting it at the Torpedo Factory. I was born in Danville, Virginia, and we moved to Alexandria when I was 5 years old. So I actually lived here. Went to high school, I went to T.C. Williams, and then when I graduated, I went to Richmond to go to art school, to VCU. And so I was there for 5 years and ended up moving to New York in the year 2000. So I've been there ever since, and it's been really great to come back to Alexandria as an old resident, but I feel like a new person here, and I have fresh eyes to see the city and everything. So it's been a really fun adventure for me to re-see the city. I'm a printmaker, and I've been making prints for the last 10 years. And a big part of my printmaking has been working with the natural world. And I've been investigating the human imprint on the natural world through my own printmaking. So let's see, around 2010, I went to Japan and I learned about suminagashi, which is a floating ink printmaking technique where you actually use water as the canvas and the medium. And it's also a collaborator. So for me, I was really interested in this process as a way of collaborating with nature. In that course of exploring the water, I was seeing how polluted the water was and wanting to kind of respond to what I was seeing and what a lot of people don't see that often. And so I began printmaking with the water, with rivers and lakes and creeks, and actually using paper to capture what I saw in the water. So using the pollutants that were floating, and natural debris to create these kind of beautiful marbled prints that were really speaking to water as often kind of a forgotten and invisible element in our lives. I've traveled to different waterways all over the world. I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Colombia, I've been to Rhode Island, and now I'm down in Alexandria. And I'm making work about the water recovery process here in Alexandria, as well as the Potomac River, which for me, the Potomac River was the first body of water that I really hung out at and got to know. It's not a very common art residency. As a matter of fact, I don't know of another one. I think this might be the only wastewater treatment facility that has an art residency, which is really cool. And it's funny, a lot of people I know, when I got this residency, they were asking me, like, what does that even mean? What do you mean an art residency at a wastewater treatment facility? But for me, it's a great idea because I can foresee artists being in lots of different civic situations where I feel like we should have a seat at the table and we should be able to kind of, portray what's happening to the public. Because a lot of times that's a better way to connect. So this exhibition will be an evolving one. So there are wastewater treatment plant prints. There are photographs that I've taken that are mostly fairly abstract, but are documenting different parts of the renewal process. And as well as other photographs that I've taken on site at some of the impacted outfall locations along the Potomac River, as well as on the kayak trips that I was able to do. So there's documentary photographs, there is enlarged photo prints on metal, and there are cyanotypes, like the one behind me here. I think that when a visitor comes, they'll see a lot of different types of work, and they'll soon realize that water is the connecting theme throughout the whole show. And so there's many different variations on the theme of water, areas where it's getting treated by AlexRenew, water from the Potomac River, trash that's been pulled out of the river, and all these different ways of creating prints. So printmaking for me is kind of a way to document the world through tactile touching and physicality, materiality. So there will be a way for people to see water and their local water in new ways. In terms of my expectations, I was allowing it to kind of unfold before me, and I have to commend AlexRenew on that as well. They were very open for me to just immerse myself in the process and in the sites before really deciding on what I was going to do. There's nothing like actually going out onto the river as well, and so the trips that I was able to do, kayaking and just really long walks along the water, were inspiring, in ways that were, surprising to me. I mean, they brought back a lot of memories for me. As a kid, I definitely had secret rope swing spots along the river and stuff that I hadn't thought about in years. So I think the Potomac River was really inspiring. Itself, maybe that's not a tool, but it is a site and a collaborator, for me. The kayak was a good tool. And what else? I was making prints in the wastewater at AlexRenew, and so, I wasn't about to stick my hands in there, so I had these pretty big chemical gloves that were a good tool to keep me safe, as well as these like arm extender clippy things that I was able to kind of like grab, my prints from afar and pull them out of the water. So I feel like that was a good safe way to print out of AlexRenew. Well, I think that, for one, there are no limits anymore. The idea of what is art and what isn't art, at this point, you can make up the rules. And so I think there's a wonderful freedom in that. You can be a painter and a printmaker and a musician and a digital artist. I think that right now is an exciting time because you can kind of interweave many different disciplines into your own, and there's so many different tools and techniques at your disposal. So it's an exciting time, and I think that, if artists can embody their work, you sort of really need to eat, sleep, and breathe it, and live it. I think that beyond ideas of a career or something, it's really a life.